I'm going to college at University of South Carolina.
University of Missouri.
University of Kansas.
George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
Kansas State.
The University of Kansas.
UNO.
Morningside University.
I talked to my counselor a few times about places where I would want to go.
Seeing like the type of things that you needed to like get into the college, like ACT scores and stuff.
I talked to a lot of people like on Instagram that I knew that had gone to like KU.
You can kind of rank different things that are most important to you. So whether that's cost or where you want to be, how big of the school you want to visit.
I've always known I wanted to be like somewhere in the healthcare field, so I would look up like best places with like undergrad programs for pre-med.
I distinguish schools between like safety, target, or reach on their ACT score. So if my ACT score was above their range and my GPA was above their range, I considered that either a safety or a target, just depending on their acceptance rate as well.
I'd say don't procrastinate it. It can be very overwhelming at the beginning, and there's a lot that can be kind of scary about it, but the more you push it off, the more stressful it's going to be at the end.
I wrote a rough draft. I just sat down and I did it whenever I had the motivation. I would let it sit for a day, and then I would edit it, and then let it sit for a day. And once I got to a point where I was content with it, I would then hand it over to my dad, who would tear it apart, and then the process would start again.
I thought that there was only going to have to be like one essay I would write for any single thing. But then there were like 2 essays per school usually, and then also like honors college applications. So I should have started earlier.
For recommendation letters, I started asking around September, I think. Go talk to your counselor as well, because they will have, at least this year, there was a Google form that we had to fill out. And so you had to fill that out to kind of let your counselor get to know you and figure out how they're going to write that letter. And then I would send those, go talk to them in person, and then I would send those teachers an email saying, like, this is basically my resume, this is what I'm involved with, these are some notable things about me that you can mention.
I reached out to colleges. That's how I got most of my looks from colleges. And it was about like my film. I know for a lot of athletes it's really important to get film.
One of the schools I applied to, I applied early action, which I found was a lot less stressful than doing early decision. Early action means that you just get to apply and get the process done with earlier. I had my application submitted, reviewed, and gotten back to me by mid-December. If you're able to drive, I would tour every single school that you apply to, but if not, what's really helpful is looking up YouTube videos like day in the life of a student at X university.
I would just like try to imagine yourself walking around on that campus. I know this is bad advice, but once you get on campus, you kind of get a feeling that you know, like, this is where I want to go.
We were kind of in like a smaller group of like 20 maybe, and then after about an hour, they kind of just like introduced like the college, like different things. We split off, and so I was with a biology major ambassador. It was just me, my mom, and then the student, and he took us on like a tour on the school.
The coach would want you to practice with the team, most likely. It'll be like an open gym or just like a little get together where they bring some athletes and practice with you, just so you can get a feel of what their practices are like or just how they run things.
I would say wherever you feel like they're helping you out the most, like if you are on the campus and like you really like the environment, then that's always like a plus.
So I 100% recommend applying for your FAFSA because it's free money that you don't have to pay back unless you get the subsidized and unsubsidized ones, but that's a whole different story.
Talk with your parents to see how you're going to pay for things, because each person's going to be different, and if your parents are going to help you out, then maybe that'll change the colleges that you're looking for.
I would just apply to as many scholarships as you can. And there's websites like goingmary.com that has, you put in all your information and all your activities that you're in, and it like gives you all of the scholarships that you could apply for that fit your criteria.
There's scholarships that are specific to the school, and those ones are easy to find when you're actually applying. But then there are ones that are more local, like even in Nebraska. So just make sure you're always checking like the counselor updates, because they have all of the scholarships that you might be eligible for.
I would say not like letting other people tell you like, oh, you're going to Lincoln or something like that. Just choose it for yourself, not based on anybody else's opinions about where you're going.
Go with your gut. Like, if you feel like you just really like would belong at a certain school, then I would definitely choose that over like sticking with your friends, even though it might be like hard.
You're just gonna kind of hurt yourself by thinking that no one wants you when there is a college out there that's gonna want you.